we pay you for that analysis there? Is that legit? If you take every champion and don't play them again, your draft is different? Yeah, I mean, sure, I guess that's true. If you do want to check out the Lotus game, by the way, it's over on the League of Legends channel. Go and check them out and see how that's going. But definitely stay tuned here. You got to keep your eyes in two different places at once because we're straight into draft for game 3. Lots of things being banned away. Akali, of course, off the board. Zoe off the board. Rio, you're going to have to earn a 3rd ban in this series because, man, everything he has played has looked good.
And that leaves Nocturne open as a change. And Glaive actually the one to ban it out here. It has been a New Age Frost ban in the first 2 games. Now, when I say throw everything out, I will put one caveat. You can still pick the Thresh. I think the Thresh was fine. Every other champion there, I didn't like. But Thresh could still work.
I mean, and not only that, it looked pretty good. It was a takeaway as well. But Glaive, yeah, they're going to grab that one. I mean, you leave it up on the first rotation. They're very happy to take it. Ezreal is in. And this, to me, looks like some semblance of a good draft so far. We have a very safe AD carry. You get the Rumble, who can be flexed. Thresh as well. Very high priority. Now is where things can fall apart for New Age Frost. Don't go Gragas Yasuo. I mean, yes, it's tempting. It's a pretty good combo, right? You can get some cool plays, but is it going to win you the game? Probably not. You know what does win you the game? A kitty cat on your Ezreal. Okay, that's fair. You know, I don't think it's really doing Chaser justice in terms of what Chaser can do, but Chaser's been struggling to initiate so far, hasn't had the opportunity to. So if you can't initiate, you might as well just, you know, buff up other ways, the Enchanter support. Sure, that's fine. And Ezreal Yuumi automatically makes that bot lane non-interactive for the most part. We've seen Shadow be amazing with those Thresh hooks, but this time you've only got one target, so you've got half the chances of actually hitting something. J4 picked up rather early here and has seen sort of a bit of a return to the meta. I'm a little concerned though, because generally you pick J4 if you've got the Rumble for the hot pot. If you're bringing the pot and they're bringing the flames, the pot does not win that particular matchup. No. There are like 30 different reasons going through my head. Number one, why are you picking Jarvan with Yuumi? Sure, you get healing, but why not just kite back? That's what Ezreal likes to do anyway. Second of all, you're picking into Thresh, your number 1 counter, who just flays away your engage and you can't play the game, New Age Frost. Dear Lord, please, someone help these guys draft. It's actually getting on my nerves at this point. Jin is in for a Glaive. 4-shot master does a lot of damage. Love to see it, but I think this is honestly a fine answer into New Age Frost. I like to see a little bit better application of Grievous Wounds when you are into the Yuumi, but I think this one's just fine. You put your AD carry in a safe champ. He can farm from range while your Chaser roams to get more kills. So yeah, I mean, sure, go for it if you want, but I think you're really going to have to get a carry here for New Age Frost in the second half of this game, or this Yuumi is going to go to waste.
Yeah, and I'm looking at potentially a Victor pickup here for the side of New Age Frost. Rio does play it a lot here, and if you are going to set up that Cataclysm, you better jolly well have something to follow it up. Because I wasn't kidding when I said if you bring a pot and they bring the flames, you're losing out here. You're going to lock your own people down without something to burn them. You've got issues. So it's got to be something with big AoE here, and they don't ban the GP. And so far, Rumble has gone top every game for Giga. But I wouldn't hate seeing a GP pickup here for the side of Glaive. They don't really have a ton to answer that so far.
And honestly, GP into Rumble isn't too bad either. The orange is practically useless, but GP does bully melee champion. Zac is interesting. I mean, they're throwing more into this teamfight composition. You get the Zac in with the equalizer. Let's bounce. It could push them a little bit away from that burn pit, but honestly, not too bad. A frontliner here. We've been seeing frontline junglers all night long instead of the high farming tempo ones, but now New Age Frost, this is really where you have to pick it up. Ooh, okay. The Yone to fully commit with the Jarvan. Instead of kiting back with the Ezreal, they want to go in for the fight instead. And the Yone does have a lot of gap close.
Yeah, and that leaves just their top laner potentially here. And they probably need something a little tanky. I'd like a little bit more magic damage just to round out the profile here. Okay, they're thinking of the set instead, and I really don't like this pick because of the anti-synergy with the Cataclysm there. You know, you put the Cataclysm down, unless you're going for like that basketball dunk where you set up the hoop and then you dunk the ball in. But
wait, that's so sick.
Yeah, I mean, but it's very, very conditional here, and it's great against the Zac, sure, but it's just, it feels kind of out of place. And speaking of which, we didn't really touch on the Zac. Zac is one of McShoot'em's more played junglers in the league right now. The Hecarim is probably I think a little bit more played, but that got banned away here. And I'm not hugely sold on these junglers, but I know that I've been told over and over again, DJ shouting in my ear, you guys can't hear him, that J4 is an Age King special most played champ. So I'm looking at these junglers this game to impress me.
Yeah, I mean, it's either that or Nunu, and I mean, Jarvan, level 2. I mean, it's his formula over and over again. Zac is one of the junglers that can match that early game presence. Tristana last pick for Glaive. The matchup will be in mid, of course, against the Yone. We could only imagine. Of course, it's a melee into range matchup, right? Level 1, level 2, it's going to hurt quite a bit. Level 6, this could get scary for Tristana. If you aren't perfect on those rocket jumps, you already know Age King is showing up in this mid lane. He wants to get the Yone ahead, and if they can put this Tristana behind, Rio could find himself in a little bit of a dangerous spot for the first time this series.
Potentially. I'm still not super convinced on that one for Puffles here, because in the pre-6 matchup, theoretically, unless Puffles horrifically misplays and, you know, steps up way too far here, Rio can't really do anything to that Tristana early. At 6, yes, you've got that Fate Shield, you've got a small chance here, and with the way rocket jumps work, it's kind of buggy. It's one of the most interruptible mobility spells here, so there is the window once here post 6, but that's when the flash starts coming in handy. And judging by how the game's gone so far, I don't think Puffles is not going to have a lead by the time that level 6 rolls around here. So very dicey. Once again, it's up to New Age Frost to execute. I'm not completely sold on their composition, but for Glaive, their comp has a bit of a mix here as well, that Zac is not exactly the same thing as what we've seen with that Rumble before. That Sejuani is so much better. Zac's Let's Bounce can mess things up a little bit. So the Rumble a little less effective, and into the set as well. That's one of the few melee matchups where I don't think Rumble is going to have a good time in.
Yeah, and Giga might just be contested in the top lane for the first time all series. It was the KDA stats we saw earlier, like, is that true? And ended up being flipped. I mean, Potato, we wanted to see innovation. We wanted to see something exciting. Set is an exciting champion, especially if they're playing basketball this game, which I've literally never heard that reference ever in my time playing League of Legends, which could be quite cool. But I think Potato could get things done here, especially, of course, with Age King there to support. You have an extremely safe bot lane. Age King doesn't really need to interact with that at all. So his full attention is on these matchups. Could go mid early again, would require a misplay from Puffles, but top lane, I think Age King is headed there over and over again. He's going to start forcing, and if those forces start working out, could get really problematic for Glaive, because a Rumble that's behind is like not even a quarter of a champion that a Rumble is even or ahead.
And we've seen Potato, if you get Potato ahead, Potato can stay ahead in the lane here. What I do want to see, though, is an early ward come out of Potato right away. Like, please, I'm begging you right now. You know now that multiple times McShoot'em has been willing to sack camps to get up to that top lane as quick as you can. And if anything, Zac ganks are even more difficult to spot out here. So maybe Age King, they're on blue side, so start on your red here and path towards that top, so that worst comes to worst, you can just run up there, abandon your camps, and try and match that, because you do not want to let Giga get ahead early once again and then just slow down the whole process.
Yeah, I mean, quite literally drops the equalizer. You can't find the full engage. Array has to arcane shift out, and then everything's split up, right? If you're not going all in with this composition like it's designed to do from New Age, probably not going to find the initial kill, especially with the slight lack of magic damage that they have. McShoot'em's is going to get exponentially tankier. I mean, yes, Yone does what, a quarter magic damage if I'm not mistaken, and then Chaser will give you some along the back end along with Array, but outside of that, there's not too much. Gotta flip the coin here and talk about the team that has been dominating all night, and we would expect them to continue their dominating fashion. Puffles on the AD mid in game 3, something we haven't seen. I like it. I just really want to see it work, and then I will coin him probably one of the best mid laners we have in Excellency, because yeah, you can play mages, you can land Zoe bubbles, but can you all in with your AD style champ? That would seal the deal for me.
And not only, I like the pick a lot because not only do you have the chance to just run away with it early, but double AD comps just skill so well. Yes, you've got an Ezreal who skills amazingly. You pop the Yuumi on, but can it match a Jhin and a Tristana? You've got a Tank Buster in one. You've got somebody who can just absolutely melt the squishies in the other here. So I really love the pickup and the insurance they give themselves here. It's not about necessarily that Rumble equalizer quite as much anymore here. And so New Age Frost will have to try and find ways to try and shut at least one of those AD carries down, because you can't let both of them skill up at the same time. Now, Necrox, before we get into the game, I feel like we do need to say this in Analyst Desk once. There is a record to be broken here. Glaive has not gone 2-1 at all so far. It's either 3-0s or 1-2s. New Age Frost have not had a single clean sweep on one way or the other. It's been splitting. They've been splitting games all throughout the entire season now. Something's got to break here in game 3. And as much as I think Glaive is going to be able to 3-0 this, this is probably, I think, the biggest chance New Age Frost now have to try and come back and break this. And I'm going to look at their bot lane here to play in isolation and scale.
All right, RMC has given you your dose of medicine and what we will see going out onto the Rift. I'd love to see the confidence from Array and Chaser, but we'll see if those picks play out exactly the way we want. RMC will see you on the other side with myself. But before we get there and the end of our show, we have Dia and DJ, the D&D duo, ready to break it down on the Rift just after a short break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Well, DJ, we come back to the Rift, and look who's here. It's New Age Frost and Glaive Esports Onyx. Once again, haven't we seen this story before?
Yep, coming back to a well that we've seen multiple times here, Dia. Two very convincing games from Glaive, Onyx, and now New Age Frost. Gonna hand Age King this Jarvan that he has played so many times from a deficit. This is his favorite champion, his most played, gets so many level 2 and 3 ganks on it to try to set up New Age for their scrappy early game snowball victories. We'll see if he can do it again. I too have my concerns about the dysenergy with this champion and the rest of the composition, but I don't think they're too worried about it, although Arraymate should be worried about his life.
Oh, he definitely should. This is a big problem, as Ezreal, you can't be getting caught out no matter how well the first two games have gotten. Tuber getting first blood is, well, it's going to be even worse for you this time.
That is, oh my god, I feel, yeah, I was just setting up this narrative for everything. Look at where Jado is. He's recalling in a bush. They have no idea he's there. This is a full bait. Jado stops his recall. Array's dancing. Oh my god, no, it's an absolute travesty, Dia.
Well, I'm so confused. I'm very confused as to what is happening. Okay, I've recentered myself now. We were on Frozen Ezreal for a while, and I was like, it seems a bit like you're rubbing it in, aren't we?
Yeah, it's a little bit of a rub in there, but I mean, a proper punish, I guess, for emoting like that in the river there, thinking he was fine, and Jado just sneaks up on him, lands a hook like he has been all series. Maybe a little bit of tilt coming out. As you can see, even Chaser emoting at the start of this lane. Fortunately for Array and Chaser, they are playing a very scaling lane this time around. The Ezreal Yuumi is meant for late game. Nice stuff there. Hitting that S key to dodge the hook. This is the classic level 2 interaction when you're playing against the Yuumi as a Thresh, but Arraymate and Chaser, aware of the situation, will dodge out, keep themselves alive, and again, we'll be working towards that very late game scaling win condition that has been a massive threat in the past.
I like what we're getting on screen right now because it definitely is supported by what we've already seen already. Tuper's KDA is infinitely better than Array's, and not necessarily just in this game either, although this game is certainly the supporter of it. Jat going for another hook there, gets the flay, but is going to be taken down by the exhaust and ignite, the very powerful combination that Chaser gets to take, and now Tuper, he's in a world of hurt as well, so maybe Ezreal Yuumi being missing from the meta for so long is actually doing New Age Frost a few favors, because it doesn't seem like Glaive Esports Onyx respect this at all.
Yep, they're completely disrespecting the lane, and now it's a turnaround from the first two games. Giga's getting ganked in the top lane.
But Giga is not overextended in that lane. He's sitting there mid lane, has his flash, and now the problem really arises, because now that he's missing that flash, things get really hard as McShootums ganks the bot lane, though they're trying to make things difficult for Chaser, and, well, as a Yuumi, they already are, because after you get CC'd, you can't join up with your friends.
Yep, interrupting that one. It is the second missed deadly flourish there from Tuper. We'll keep an eye on that one, but fortunately, McShootums not going to let him go. I am a Jhin main, man. Of course I count. That's literally what we do. We count to 4, Dia. That is our entire existence as Jhin mains.
Well, okay, sorry, a completely unrelated question. Do you want to duo queue sometime?
Yeah, sure, why not?
Awesome. Yes, guys, we did it. We're finally going to get DJ paid to duo queue with me. I didn't know you played Jhin. Jin's actually a really good champion. He's got a very dominant laning phase when you play him right.
He certainly does. Again, I think you've mentioned the unfamiliarity maybe with this Ezreal Yuumi lane is also kind of a scary lane when Ezreal Yuumi has the full set of summoner spells in the early game. It can really mess you up. They got that kill onto Jado, and I think the Tuper and Jado were expecting to be pretty uncontested in this lane due to Jin's early game prowess alongside this Thresh. Nevertheless, they do get help from their jungler. They're set up for success, and McShootums potentially looking for another gank.
He's certainly going for it. Potato's already very lone with no haymaker. He has to flash himself, along with McShootums helping out Giga crash that wave. It was something that was needed. I dare say, for Glaive, because for the first time this series, Giga was actually kind of getting clapped by that wave positioning.
Yeah, Giga's wave positioning, not great, but he does get the help from McShoot'em, so I like the recognition from the jungler to help push that wave in. Almost gets a kill out of it as well. So despite the fact that we finally see a bit of an error from Giga, his teammates right there to pick him up, and that is how coordinated Glaive have looked all afternoon. Though it's New Age here, oh my god!
We're knitted again in the mid lane, but this time, oh my god, Jat taking that flame to keep the fate sealed from connecting means Puffles gets to live there. Well, in the top lane, it doesn't look nearly so good for Potato Senpai, who's trying to take the fight, but is just going to be burned down.
Yeah, I mean, RIP to the stream.
Dude, it is never a good sound when you hear through your producer's audio feed the Windows error noise. That is some nightmare fuel. Fortunately, Benjamin's is on it, and never resting is Benjamin's to bring you the best League of Legends around, and that's going to continue here with New Age Frost and Glaive Esports as Dragon has now spawned, and Array, he's going to walk right past it to get himself to a little bit of safety while Jat was chasing him down.
Yep, think he kind of knows where McShoot'em's is. That Glaive clearly interested in this Drake once again. They have taken the first Drakes in both of the first two games, and they are setting up to do so once again. Split vision at the moment, though, so not too much control here from Glaive. We'll see if they can establish some priority in this bottom lane, but Age King hanging around here to try to make some action happen before this Drake.
If he can do it, this would be a great play to get them the first dragon for the first time, but that time the Deadly Flourish lands, and Jado gets exhausted again, maybe going to get ignited at the tail end of this, but doesn't eat it. Instead, it is a Ray that eats it, and Age King is just a little bit too late to the party. The curtain call is going to come out. Age King is a foregone conclusion. They're focusing on Chaser instead, and the Yumi is going to fall. Well, another Deadly Flourish connects.
Yep, and Glaive gets it all right there. They leave Age King for dead, and now Puffle's going in here. He might be in trouble, though.
All right, this time Rio's got to hit the face. He's not even going to use it. He's going to use it. It's going to hit one, and Jat's going to be able to get out alive. A little bit late there on the trigger pull means that he hit the support. Not even the support goes down.
Oh, that was painful. That was painful, Dia. It all falls apart here for New Age Frost. They had a good idea, but again, I think a little bit of tilt from the first two games. They go way too far here, and they don't have the damage. There's no ulti available for Yumi. Tooper's the only one who's level 6 here. They can't lock him down. He bursts out Array, and now it's just time to head for the hills and look at the target focus. They realize Age King is dead. They go on to Chaser. He can't get away. They get all 3 kills and more after that ulti from Rio does not connect here. Potato, the one who loses his life at the end of this play, and with a huge gold lead already available for them and the first Drake in their pockets, this is looking very much like a Glaive 3-0 here tonight.
Yeah, they've set themselves up for it, and as we cut back to live, I can only imagine that they're trying their best to get some good news story going for them. They still do technically have a CS lead in that top lane, although now that Giga's picked up kills, they have to reinvest to keep it the same way.
Yeah, they have to reinvest pretty heavily here, but already it's 1.5 growing towards 2K gold lead here for Glaive Esports Onyx, and they are so well set up for success. Jado is already unlocked from the lane with these mobility boots. Look at where he is, setting up vision around the next objective, this Rift Herald. Tooper has flash. He cannot be seized upon by this Ezreal Yumi. Even if the ulti comes out, it'll just flash away. And now trying to set up a play on Rio. This is great macro management from Glaive that we have seen all series long. And this is the kind of work that gets you objective and snowballs leads effectively. Love what is going on here from this seasoned roster as they push for a 3-0.
Yeah, the map is devolving and devolving very quickly into a series of skirmishes, and this blood will only help fuel the rage of Glaive. Although Puffles gets CC'd, he does get that rocket jump out, and McShootums is going to fall into his passive. The Cataclysm does help Age King get away as he now recommits onto Puffles, keeping the damage from coming through, but Giga's here to help, and there's not going to be a kill going over just yet, although McShootums is very low, and he will fall, giving over that kill to New Age Frost as Array has had plenty of time to come up, and it's actually not that bad for New Age at the end of everything.
That's actually a very good play for New Age, and I'm honestly a little surprised. We've talked about all series that the execution for them has not been terrible. A lot of it has been bad setup, whether in draft or in game, and that looked like a similar issue because they went in a 3v4. You've got an Ezreal Yuumi. They are tied to one another. You are 3 members everywhere else on the map. So that fight starts in a 3v4, but they survive for so long, popping McShootums passive, multiple shields coming out from Potato, that Arraymate and Chaser are able to get priority on the bottom lane, roam all the way up. And if there is one thing that an Ezreal Yuumi is good at, it is cleaning up fights. You can't get away from them. You can't outdamage the healing. They show up, they win the team fight. And that is a very positive sign here for New Age Frost. They needed some kind of hope in this early stage of game 3, or it could have just run away from them. They have that hope now, and Arraymate 3 kills looking like a potential win condition.
Yeah, I want to see them play around this Ezreal, who cannot be shut down nearly as easily as last game, especially now that this is probably the best gold state that we've seen New Age Frost be in. Yes, they're slightly behind, but it is ever so slight, and they could even pull ahead if they get the kill on Puffles. Rio ends up finding it, and that is going to be a gold lead, and a lead in the mid lane, no less. Well, Age King commits here with the Exhaust and the Ignite onto McShootums, who has no passive here. He takes him down with the Smite, and actually, New Age Frost are rocketing themselves ahead.
They absolutely are. It's a complete turnaround here. We thought they were tilted. We thought they were out of it, but look at what they're doing now, fighting back. The scrap is finally coming out, and they are winning these skirmishes. Dia, this is beautiful stuff from them, taking advantage of the lack of a passive and a little bit of a mistake there in mid lane. Necrox mentioned it on the desk that you have to be accurate with the buffer on that Tristana jump. Puffles fumbled it a little bit, and Rio absolutely punished him. I love the fact that New Age are not quitting here. They are coming out swinging in game 3, fighting back and looking to continue splitting the series.
This time, though, Puffles does get that buffer right, and it might actually go wrong for New Age Frost as they're under the turret. Age King is aggressed on by McShootums, but they don't have the damage to finish him off. Giga's lost almost all of his tower plates, but the story's echoed in that bot lane, and we're seeing almost a reversal of what happened last game, where the whole rift was going wrong for New Age Frost, and their one hope was Potato Senpai. This time, the rift is going right for New Age Frost, and the hope on the other side is Tuper, who isn't in this mid lane, but well, I think Rio's likely going to go down anyway.
I believe Rio's already gone down, but Puffle's in some trouble here. The TP in will get picked up. Potato, though, is going to sacrifice himself. Ulti's out here. I think Age King just going to stay alive. I think that one ends in a 2-for-1 over in the favor of Glaive. And unfortunately for New Age, again, the timings, man, the setups, the Drake's up, Dia. They lose another skirmish around it, and now they find themselves in another awkward objective situation.
Shot gets another hook, and Age King barely manages to survive. Array not going to be nearly so lucky as McShootums finds a ward to hit and slaps Array down into the ground with the help of Giga and the squad.
No, and it's just another one. This game going back and forth now as Glaive were on the back foot. They find the fight, though. They find a little skirmish in the mid lane. Their numbers advantage turns into the Drake and that extra kill. Can they get this red buff and get out? They get out. They don't get the red buff.
Unlucky. Unfortunately for them, they don't. But the other thing that's unfortunate for Glaive is that they haven't actually managed to accelerate Tuper any off of that fight. He started it at 5-1-1. He's still at 5-1-1, and though that first tower is looking juicy, the fights actually need to be converting for this Jhin for Glaive Esports to have a fighting chance, because New Age Frost, they are ready to take it to the team, unlike last game.
Yeah, I mean, look at Chaser just roaming around here, buffing up the members that I think you should be buffing up. You know, a Yuumi, honestly, in the middle to late stage of the game, not honestly that good on an AD carry unless you're cleaning up. You want that Yuumi on a bruiser, someone who can heal, someone who does damage by staying alive for longer. I like what's going on here with Chaser. Array Mate can stay alive on this Ezreal, continue to farm up, and with 3 kills already in his pocket, he'll be just fine in the late game. This is what you want. Rio's pretty much unkillable here, just chunking out the enemy's support, and he is fearless with this Yuumi attached to him.
Yeah, Yuumi Yone is a danger to society and a danger to Tupper, moreover, as well. So he's the one that's rotated into that mid lane to clear it out and maintain the lane against the siege that has been this Yone. The fact that he can go for so many unabashed engages with the soul unbound is a big problem for an immobile carry. We're seeing it right now. The Tupper thankfully has that death sentence to get away.
Yeah, now meanwhile in the bottom lane, this is where the numbers advantage comes in when you play with a Yuumi. They can't have extra members in the side lane. It's a nice collapse and well done by Jado to be in the right position to keep the Tupper alive there as he is seized upon by Rio. That is excellent execution in a bad situation, and now Rio might be in trouble.
Manages to get himself away just barely with the third proc of Mortal Steel. McShootums, though, has the right idea going for that engage, and Age-King does as well. Commits the Cataclysm, but gets hooked under the tower. Now has a Yuumi with him, and Rio isn't able to continue the fight. So it'll be both teams backing off, but that's a play from Glaive that went sideways.
Yeah, a little bit over commitment there in the mid lane from Glaive. Fortunately, again, good peel from Jado means they don't lose anyone's life. The flash, the flay, and then the hook to disengage Age-King, as foreshadowed by Mr. Necrox once again on the desk here. And they do stay in this slight gold lead here, just 600 at the moment. Oh, picked on Age-King. This is the jungler.
This is a problem here. That fourth shot's going to hurt quite a bit if it lands as well, and it does connect. Age-King is going to fall, and now it's Glaive Esports' rift to run.
Yeah, Glaive Esports find a pick there. This is the power of the Jhin in competitive, right? That ulti, not just for damage, it's set up. The Tupper finds the enemy jungler. They get the pick. Now they have free access to the mid lane turret. And they're even going deeper here. They root up Rio.
Lord. They lock him down as well, and he cannot get the cooldowns off despite finding a great knock-up. Rio does end up dying, and Tupper completely unthreatened so far. We've seen him a few times sweating in the face of that Yone, but sweating no more.
Yeah, 5-1-3 here is the Tupper. He's looking really, really strong and using this Jhin to its maximum potential in the mid game. Coming out of the mid lane, finding picks, finding lockdowns with that deadly flourish. I counted those 2 he missed in the early game. I haven't seen him miss a lot since then, so maybe just taking a little bit of time to get warmed up. He is certainly warm now and is the strongest member on the Rift at the moment. 5-1-3, the Collector now completed, and there aren't a lot of tanks on the enemy composition to deal with as Potato has gone for the split pushing build here with that Blade of the Ruined King.
Yeah, I want to see him carrying with the kills now that he has that second item, and the Collector is a dangerous item to have on the Jhin, but he's been impressing me even without actually upping that scoreline, just by the very same deadly flourishes you were just talking about. So often, he's contributing to lockdown, and caster curse, be caster curse, be caster curse. This time it doesn't happen, but you keep watching and mark my words.
Yeah, I think that might have just been a good buffer timing for Array just getting out in time. We'll give Tupper a pass on that one. More importantly here, Glaive once again just bullying their way into the river due to that pick. They're right on the Drake. H-King needs to try and steal it. He can't do it.
Now that's Soul Point as well, because it's an Ocean Rift this time, and Potato may get tier 2 in the top lane. That's the trade for New Age Frost, but at tier 2, now having to face down the barrel of what could be essentially a game-winning buff for Glaive Esports is a risky trade.
Yeah, this is risky. Okay, talk about risky here. Puffles
does have the disengage on the ult. The Buster Shot gets invested to save his life, but that's another missed buffer, and it's spooky for the Tristana, who is actually lower than I thought.
Yeah, because honestly, you look at the way this game is progressing, and part of the reason that Potato has gone this split pushing build is because they can go into this 1-3-1. This Yone is getting tougher and tougher to deal with for Puffles. Already with the Immortal Shield Bow, working on a second item. You can see what those trades look like in a side lane already. Puffles forced to base, loses a turret that's only going to get worse. And is there really anyone to answer Potato on the other side of the map? Probably not. It will take extra commitment from the members of Glaive to collapse on these side lanes. Meanwhile, you have to deal with the Raymate and this Yuumi for Chaser in the mid lane. You can't really engage onto that. Your options become very limited. So you can see the plan here from New Age is to try to win this game 3 from split pushing. To do that, they need to get vision and stay safe. I don't know if Potato's done that here.
No, he's definitely not, and he's going down as well. Even misses the face breaker, but Tupper, on the other hand, is the more valuable pick that's gone down to New Age Frost in the meantime, and they've unlocked the Baron for themselves.
Yeah, that's the strongest member of Glaive that just goes down there in the mid lane, and that's the power of Age King and this Yuumi. You can't really get away. Now they're going straight on to the Baron, trying to use this pick to turn this into a big objective. Equalizer going to slow him down. We might get a fight here.
Yeah, Age King has to use the Flag and Drag to disengage, lest he die to that Equalizer, and it's Giga that just barely manages to save the Baron from going down. If you remember the pre-show, I think it's, 82 times that the Baron has died this heavy league?
Poor Baron. That's a lot of times to
I
die.
know, it's a lot. Like, you don't think about it because it only really happens once or twice a game, and you're like, maybe you don't even get it in solo queue.
Yeah, and he's like a giant purple worm monster, and normally you don't feel bad for those, but now I kind of feel bad, do you?
Yeah, I'm sure that there's a hefty counseling compensation bonus given from Riot Games to the Baron, because it's a terrifying thing to have the game basically become about you at 20 minutes. We see New Age Frost just get a single pick, and instantly they're on the purple worm.
Yeah, they really wanted to take it. It was probably a little too early for them, but they will go right back into this split push. Look at the width on the map here. Potato down in bot lane, has his TP available. Rio pushed out the top wave, and it's going to be tricky here for Glaive. They only have the singular teleport on Giga to match this split push. They don't have anyone that can really deal with these champions. I think Puffles can answer Potato. You can see him matching there in the bottom lane. There is no one to match Rio. So they have to find engages or try to use objectives to force basically New Age Frost to come to them. Fortunately for them, when we're talking about objectives, they have an Ocean Soul available for them in 1 minute and 30 seconds, and New Age Frost is going to have to answer that.
Yeah, they really just have to play this game of keeping people like Rio out of the top lane or out of the inhibitor towers for the next 60 seconds, because from that point on, you can even give up the inhibitor tower, though I don't recommend it, and walk away with the ocean buff that may very well be worth it in a lot of these team fights. The danger, of course, is that New Age Frost actually find themselves at a point where I think they could take the Baron in trade, and that could be spooky with 1-3-1.
I mean, Baron in this 1-3-1 would be absolutely devastating. Again, we've talked about the fact that Glaive really can't answer them in 3 lanes. There's just not enough in their composition to do so. They need these sort of team fights to play out, and they are set up for this one. They're walking in a little blind here, our New Age. A lot is going to be on array to dodge the engage on this Yuumi. Here we go. Age King running in, looking for the ulti.
Yeah, watch Tupper as well. He doesn't get rooted up. Instead, roots up Age King to main engage, while McShootums gets pumped into the middle of the fight. It's Potato Senpai that accesses the backline, taking one with him as Puffles goes down, but Tupper, that Jhin is untouched. He uses the Gale Force to finish off a kill, and we set it up from the beginning. This Jhin is your game winner.
Absolutely massive here for Tupper. Glaive knows exactly what New Age wants to do. They want to run in. They want to get Age King jumping on top of them, and watch Jado and McShootums here create so much space for the Tupper and the rest of the team. Here's the speed up from the Yuumi. Age King goes in. He's flayed away. He's rooted up by Tupper. Barely even gets his ult off here before he goes down. That is beautiful work from the front line here at Glaive. And then it's just the Tupper show cleaning up the vulnerable members. They win the team fight convincingly, and they pick up their prize in the Ocean Soul.
And now with that Ocean Soul, the fights go so much more convincingly. You think McShoot'ems is dying after that? I tell you no, sir. Taking a look at the items on the other side, New Age Frost only have one way to apply grievous wounds, and that's if you're hitting Age King. Everyone else is happy as the day they were born, and they get to continue being that way until Array, until Chaser, until Potato, until somebody gets some way to apply the healing debuff to them.
Yeah, it's been a little tricky accessing. They're actually on the Baron here. It's a two-man play. I think they've given it away now, but this Baron's already half HP. Gonna be forced off it.
They can actually finish this off. The Equalizer buys a little bit of time, but Age King doesn't have a lot of ways to get into the pit. They're gonna finish him off first, though, before the Purple Worm goes down. Potato tries with the engage, does get a good face breaker again, and finds the Haymaker as well, but watch Tooper once more in this backside, being peeled for by Jad, pumping the shots into the members of New Age Frost, as now Puffles gets to walk forward, lay down the crits, and lay out the damage to take down the cat, while Tooper finishes off the Ezreal.
Oh, Glaive is just so good at team fighting here, Dia. That honestly looked like a potentially decent angle for New Age. That engage coming in from Potato was pretty sick. The showstopper into a three-man face breaker. But again, they don't get on the carries. Watch here as the engage comes in. First, it's Age King. He goes in, gets rooted up, gets taken down. That's half of it, but Potato is still available. He has Yuumi on top of him, and here he goes in. Three-man on the face breaker, but it's all frontline. Puffles is untouched. Tooper is untouched, and you can't leave these members available to deal damage. They blow up everyone that comes into them from the side of New Age. They clean up the fight here as the Tooper Gale forces in to pick up Array. And again, if you can't get onto these carries with this engage from New Age Frost, they are going to clean you up. It needs to be a little more coordinated. They need to find a potential flank angle here, but they are running out of time as the Baron gets picked up on the backside. And if we were talking about a split pushing comp being great with Baron, it is really, really weak when the Baron's on the other side.
I'm going to put a number to what you were talking about earlier. I say you have one team fight as New Age Frost to make this work, to find Tooper, to address this Jhin through the Ocean Soul and everything. Only one chance. Because if you don't get it this time, if you don't get it as the Baron is pushing into your base, you're going to lose the game.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. It's been 2 team fight wins in a row here for Glaive. They're looking for 3.
Oh my lord, the soft initiation is deadly, and Giga actually gets the teleport off as well to join the fight. This is a very strong push into the mid lane, and Potato can't answer.
He has to base. I don't know what they're thinking here. You don't split push against Baron. We were just saying it. It's weak to split push because you're going to get out pushed. You can't out push Baron minions. He needs to base now, or their base is going to be heavily cracked.
It already is. That inhibitor is down, and with the Baron recalls, it should be Glaive able to stop their own inhibitor tower from falling. We'll see how it ends up playing out, though, because New Age Frost are trying to stop the backs, and with Sep split pushing in this top side, he does manage to take down a tower just barely. They will save the inhibitor, and Glaive Esports Onyx hang on, but New Age Frost really test them here.
Yeah, New Age Frost, they get the turret. They still lose out in the trade, but they do at least slow down the Baron push. They will have to deal with these super minions now for the next couple of minutes, and that can be a little debilitating when the Elder is coming up in a minute 30. They are gonna, again, need to fight over that objective, and while I love the idea of going for this split push that I do think is difficult to answer, it just came way too late, Dia. They were doing it when 3 Drakes were already in the pocket of Glaive. There's so many objectives that you have to come to when you're that far down on Drakes when Elder is available. You can't just let these buffs go uncontested because they deny your ability to split push. They deny your ability to contest vision, to do really anything here. And now they're going to be walking into the traps as Glaive once again set up their advanced line of vision here in preparation for this Drake. They have been doing this all series long, and we have seen how good they are at punishing the face check and the engages like this.
You do burn Tuper's flash really early, though, and it's a good start from New Age Frost, but they can't finish because Potato gets picked off on the side. Giga isn't even taken down by Rio, and now one member weaker, and an engaging member at that. It is a tall order to find a team fight, especially when H-King is getting initiated on. He burns that stopwatch, but he gets caught by the hook on his way out. Jado predicts the flash and clinches the team fight for Glaive.
Gorgeous stuff from Jado, predicting the flash. They kill multiple members once again. Another split fight, and Glaive once again punish the uncoordinated engage.
Tuper.
Our Raymate just gonna dash away. There's the flay! Jado, baby!
He finds the fourth shot and puts Array into the ground.
Array Mate is gone. The wave clear is extremely limited here, and the Elder Drake is being taken at the same time. This might just be the death wish. Jado hits the hook!
And Rio doesn't have the ultimate there either as the Elder Drake comes in. The burn is almost enough to take Rio and put him 6 feet under, but Glaive are going to reset one final time before they go for the end of this game.
Yeah, Elder Drake in their back pockets, a Baron available in 1:35. I think they will look to take that, go double buffs here into the enemy base, and end this game and this series, and finally break New Age's streak of always taking at least one game from their opposition. They are nearly 10k gold up. Their carry is on 4 items here for the Tuper, dealing massive damage, 11, 2, and 7. Everything is available here for Glaive Esports Onyx. It will take an incredible engage from New Age Frost to turn this around. I don't think it's out of the question. I think what they need to do, though, is find a pocket of space. We've talked so much in this series about Glaive's vision setup. New Age needs to find a deep ward. They need to get these members on a flank and try to engage at the same time on multiple carries. If they can do that, I think they can win a fight.
H-King's on a flank right now, but he's getting engaged on, and Glaive get their way into the base. With top wave still pushing, Rio's going to go for the engage. Does have that fate sealed if he finds an angle once more, and Tuper's playing with fire with no flash available.
There is no flash. That is a critical summoner spell that's not available. Again, if you can get a layered engage and try to disrupt that carry, you can win these fights. They've lost the fights because they have been unable to get on these carries to disrupt their auto attacking. They do at least chase them out of the base. They're going to lose a turret for it. And I think Glaive probably just going to fall back to this Baron, take it for free, and try to use that to break open the remainder of the base. Do this a little tutorial style so that they don't fall prey to that layered CC.
Fortunately for them, they've got the Elder as well, which makes the Baron go down even faster with their amplified damage. Array not going to be able to steal that Baron, and neither is H-King as he walks into a death brush of 2 members and gets subsequently taken down before the Baron roars one last time.
Oh, that's just so clever from Jado and Puffles there. I think a Deadly Flourish even lands from the Tuper, but they know at this point in the game they don't need all 5 members on the Baron, so they save 2. They pick out the enemy jungler, and now the base push, the death push becomes even easier. Looking for a kill onto Puffles. Here's Rio, but he's all alone.
That Zanya is going to buy him enough time to get right back up with his team as well. A great dark passage from Jat, and an even better play forces Array to back off. Glaive Esports Onyx are pressing in for that final push, and Array is going to be taken down by the explosion from Puffles. Rio can't do anything to this front line, and although Potato bypasses it and takes down Puffles, Tuper is critically untouched, and he's hitting the base. Turns his attention onto H-King, now turning it onto Rio just to delete him, just to take down that last member of New Age Frost. While Chaser is lucky enough to be alive, we'll see if that lasts. Curtain Call gets channeled, and the Nexus is under fire because at this point, Glaive are playing with their food. They've won, and they've broken that streak, taking this in a clean 3-0 against New Age Frost.
And they even pad the KDA there, killing the poor solitary cat inside his own fountain. Chaser can't do anything about it. And what a performance here from Glaive Esports on Onyx, they take the series in a convincing 3-0 fashion. They snap New Age's streak of always taking a game off their opposition, and they move themselves even further up the table, nearly at this point solidifying a playoff spot. I'm not sure what the math is exactly, but at this point of the season, with as good as they have been in the last few weeks, I would imagine they are destined for those playoffs, and they are looking good headed here into the latter stages of the season as they look to defend the crown their organization earned last split.
They are likely getting to the playoffs. This is a team that already looks in form, and it's just a little bit, actually, a significant amount now with 2 weeks behind us, over the midway in the season. And that's where the bottom teams have to start to step up, and the middle of the pack teams have to start differentiating themselves. New Age Frost were dealt a tough hand this week, trying their best to compete with one of those top seeds, but you're going to have to save it for the playoffs, and you're going to have to clean up a lot of the mistakes that we saw on the Rift today. To break down those mistakes and some of the things that Glaive Esports did well, I want to toss it to our analyst desk where Necrox and RMC can educate you and me both on how that Rift went.
Welcome back, everyone, here to the analyst desk. And man, I had high hopes for game 3. I know you did as well. The kitty cat had a 50% win rate before, and Chaser, man, you ruined it. It's now in the tank. It's 33, and honestly, there were a couple bright patches there for New Age. It looked so much better, but at the end of the day, Glaive, they realized what position they were in, and they decided, you know what, no more fooling around. We're going to end this one out.
And I felt like for the side of New Age, they had hope right up to the moment they lost Ocean Soul. And the problem is, once you lose an Ocean Soul as a team which is running something like an Ezreal, that's when you know you're done, because you're not going to be outputting the damage quick enough, and the healing is going to negate a lot of that there. But before that, yeah, sure, they were down 4 or 5 kills. But the gold was only 1k gold lead difference for the most part, which means nothing at the 20 plus minute mark here.
And honestly, even though Age King got his infamous Jarvan, it kind of just fell flat. It left a sour taste in my mouth after everything, forcing play on topside, getting Giga's flash, then really not punishing it after that. Giga got basically a free lane. We thought the set would do well, and yeah, it had some priority, but it never really manifested into anything else. Meanwhile, bot side 2v2 kills coming in from the Ezreal Yuumi, but of course, once you're up against these tanky members with the Ocean Soul, like you were saying, RMC, it's just too hard to make that damage really last and full on have that effect. The composition wanted to go all in, and Array simply can't keep up with that pace. One thing I have to mention, though, we got to look at the bright side here. Puffles just exploded all 3 games, and quite literally in game 3, people were exploding after 3 autos.
Yeah, I mean, credit to Rio for actually even being able to threaten Puffles at all. But again, it's just Puffles is mechanically really solid, and the Tristana has a favorable matchup. So, I mean, it's just... There's not much to say there. That one, unfortunately, is just how that particular matchup goes in this game 3. And we look at just overall throughout the entire series, I think it's fair to call Puffles the MVP for tonight here. The Zoe play was super clean as well, and the Akali as well. The fact that you forced both those bans and then some throughout this series, it's just massive here. Teams will have to take note on how you're going to try and stop him from taking over a game.
And it's honestly incredible coming into a series. Obviously, the respect bans weren't there, and then earning throws throughout a series truly goes to show you how incredible this team can play. And honestly, anyone here can earn that MVP title. Even Tuper, game 3 on the Jhin, man, uncontested in every fight. You and I, at the end of these team fights, we're going, Tuper sitting 4 miles away doing just as much damage as anyone else on the Rift. Really great stuff from Glaive, and this is why, even though it's a new roster, this organization cannot be underestimated. But I just got the best news we've had all night. Puffles is coming in for an interview. We're going to throw it back on over to our casters for the last segment of the evening. Make sure, D and DJ, to crack this guy's skull wide open, because this one was a banger.